Hey guys, Loco here with Sneaky, going 1-1 this weekend, beating world champion player Bang on 100 Thieves. How was that?
There's too many world champions nowadays. They're just on too many different teams. We lost one yesterday, Cordy J. But yeah, it was actually really easy today. I think it was just matchup. Like, I was actually able to push as Ezreal, and I just kept their bot lane under turret the entire game, which feels really disgusting as Ezreal right now.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had a pretty hard weekend. You guys have 100 Thieves, who people rated highly, and Team Liquid. What was the expectation going into the week?
I thought we would 2-0, but we didn't scrim TL at all leading up to this because we were in Korea, and I think they were scrimming about the same time we were in Korea. But when we came back, it's like, okay, we see the schedule. TL's our first game, and like, there's not really a point in scrimming just to show picks because then you're like almost trying to hide stuff when you're scrimming versus them, so it's almost useless. So we didn't really have a full judge on how good they were, pretty much, but we thought we would still win, and it was a close game. We made some mistakes that made us not able to win.
So how good do you think TL is? I mean, people were saying this is the best North American roster ever. They have 2 world champions. How do they look in your eyes?
Um, well, just based off yesterday, I think we're doing really well right now. So I don't think they're that much better than us. It should be pretty competitive between us two. But yeah, I don't think they're like really, really good. I think they're decent right now, and we're decent.
Definitely not the best team ever.
No, for sure not.
So the other team you played today, 100 Thieves, they were also a really hyped up team. Oh, Bang, world champion. Oh my god, how many times have you said world champion this interview? And someday, Aframu, who he supposedly best friend of Aframu, there's going to be a lot of synergy there. What do you think of them?
Like 100 Thieves overall.
Yeah, overall.
Um, they weren't really doing too much. Like, they tried to kill Licorice top lane a few times and didn't really work out. And we just kept getting like everything. Like, I had their bot lane or turret. The only time they ever fought us was just at the Infernal Drag, where they got it and they like lost out. Like, who he overchased me, and then I killed like Aframu at the end. I ended up dying, but yeah, they pretty much just lost control of the whole game. And like, we took over their whole forest, and they couldn't even move anywhere. And it didn't really feel like they had any pressure anywhere. So I think they have a lot of stuff to work on, whether that's like matchups themselves or them just being able to force plays.
I think you're the first AD carry player I interviewed, so I do want to talk about AD carry role a little. I think it's an absolute shambles right now. You're so dependent on the support, and there's like the most two popular AD carries that are being played, like Lucian and Israel, don't even build real AD carry items. They borrow from other roles and build those items. What do you think of AD carry at the moment?
Um, yeah, it's kind of a mix up on games where you feel like you're in control and games where you feel like nothing you do matters. Because there's so many competitive games that I watch, and it's just like the 80s are chilling at 0-0 and like a few assists, some kills. There's some games where they take off too. So it's hard to exactly judge, but overall the feeling is for sure that our impact is pretty low compared to what it used to be. And I would like to see it get buffed. I don't really know about the crit changes that we've seen, like what Riot's shown. I feel like they're gonna have to do more on the buffing side of it, because from what I saw, it was like they just took off 5% crit and took the crit, like the doubling of the crit off IE. And I don't even know if that brings back the 2 item spike, because Storm Razor is still really good. So it's hard to say. Like, I feel like it'll need more than that. Maybe some base stat buffs again. Hard to say.
Dude, are you okay with supports basically being second mid laners and how powerful they are nowadays? Because it used to be supports by Wars, jungler by Oracle Elixir, and gold for 5 items, and then AD carry and mid laner do everything. Of course, that's not a good state for the game to be in, but my thoughts is supports and jungle have been creeping over AD carry in almost the entire game. Like, I guess only when you get like 3 items I feel stronger. Like, what's your opinion on support and jungle strengths?
I feel like if I was to make the game myself and like balance it, the way I would do it would be that supports would be equal level / potentially kill up until like level 11, 10. And then once it hits that point, I think the AD should have enough stats in them to just take them out of the game if they try something dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of way it is right now, I mean, there's a lot of tanks that are not that killable, but the way it kind of is right now is like if they go on you, they don't really get punished. Like if Alistar combos, he's not gonna die, and he's there. Like even if he does a really dumb combo, he usually doesn't get punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Braum, he's just really tanky. Tom Kench, like a lot of these dudes aren't really getting punished for being mispositioned, which comes a lot just from their role, like being a tank. But yeah, I feel like a lot of their powers should be in the early game, just getting people through the early game, and straight into mid game is where they shouldn't have as high impact. And obviously with CC and stuff, they're always going to have some sort of impact. But I feel like that's definitely what it should be limited to. And I'm not saying they shouldn't get gold, but yeah, some of the items do seem to have a lot of like tank stats put on them that maybe shouldn't be there, like just straight utility, like in Redemption, how it's such a strong active. I mean, it used to be even better, but a lot of those just have a lot of base stats to make them a little bit too tanky, I think.
Oh, I forgot. I had to ask you this question. You got solo killed by Doublelift yesterday, and people love latching onto memes. Like, once Sneaky in lane is a meme, like, it doesn't matter what the stats say. It doesn't matter if you crush everybody in lane. Sneaky's bad in lane. Like, what do you think about memes in general? And when it pertains to player performance also, like, another player on your team that really suffer from memes is, like, Golden Glue. Oh, like, Golden Glue is like terrible mid laner, and that meme lasted for such a long time, even when Grayson was doing well. So yeah, what do you think about memes that pertain to player performance?
It's hard to really read into them because once it kind of happens, people just say it no matter what, like regardless of context. Like, the sneaking in lane one, they kind of turn it from sneaking lane lull or sneaking lane PogChamp, like depending on how I'm doing. And I saw one yesterday, and I was watching our VOD from yesterday, and it was like Hitski or Miski. So when he's hitting his spells, he's Hitski. When he's missing, he's Miski. So like there's a lot of fun ones that are not really aggressive or make people feel bad, like Hitski Miski. I like that one. But yeah, sneaking lane is a little bit worse, I think, because it's like a lot of the context just doesn't really make sense. I mean, I kind of just say when I'm doing bad, but a lot of times we'll just say it whenever. And then the Grayson one too, like Golden Glue. Yeah, like a lot of the community perception on him was that he wasn't a good player, but he is a really good player, and he just hasn't had that many opportunities to show it. Last year he did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think they're generally fun, but sometimes it's hard to reel it in and not let it go too far and hurt people's feelings,
So I have to ask about Niski also. How good is he, and where do you think he's going to end up? And compare him to Jensen for me.
I think Niski's really good. There's a lot of things that we're kind of working on as a team to figure out like how to play together. It's stuff that we kind of already established with Jensen that we kind of have to reestablish with Niski. It's like, side lane stuff, when to go for objectives, when to move. Like he's pretty good at a lot of it. It's just there's specific team things that we like to do that we're still teaching him. So I feel like once we get past that phase, we'll be able to learn like a lot of new stuff together. But I think he's really good mechanically, and today he got a solo kill on Huhi, which it's pretty impressive. Although he's playing Aatrox, that's a little cheese.
Broken champ.
Yeah, the big swordman's pretty strong. And comparing him to Jensen, I don't know. I mean, I played with Jensen for a really long time, so I knew a lot of Jensen's habits. Hard to say. I mean, I think they're both really good. Niski hits a lot of skill shots I wouldn't expect him to, and I feel like I wasn't as surprised as much when I was playing with Jensen, like when he's hitting stuff. So Niski right now he's pretty good. I can't exactly compare, but I like him a lot.
So one thing I also have to ask is, I look at your roster sometimes, and I'm like, how is this team good? Even in like past versions, right? Like you guys are making worlds, like you guys are making it out of groups, and then you compare it to TSM and TL, who have like loaded roster, and they never make it out of groups except for once. So yeah, what's your secret sauce? And overall, like Cloud9, like how do you guys always overperform? It's crazy.
I think there's a lot of factors that go into us doing really well internationally. It's hard to pinpoint all of them. I think one of the biggest ones is just like team atmosphere and environment in those types of situations. Haven't really seen other teams going into Worlds and like them practicing and stuff and talking about it, but I feel like the way we approach it is just always trying to learn even in those really high pressure environments. Whereas like I feel like on the other teams they're taking things a lot more critically on each other and not able to learn as fast, because a lot of the times in Worlds, like the first week, I think everyone went even last year. Like we all went 1-2, all the NA teams, but then we 3-0'd the next week, and then they all lost the games. So like there's just a lot of adaptive stuff that we pick up that other teams just refuse to do. I don't know. I mean, you have to do it a lot in LCS, so I can't really say as to why they can't do it then, besides maybe it being more pressure and like emotions like flaring up. Maybe people get really defensive about picks. Like, I mean, it's happened to, like players in the past. Like, I mean, I guess me, like when Caitlyn was really strong at first, like 2017 or something, I'm like, I don't really care if they get it. And then you keep playing against it, and it's just like, okay, I can't do anything. Like, I'm just getting shoved into my turret. I can't move. They're taking my turret. They're moving around, destroying my team. So there's probably a lot of stuff that people are stubborn about that they can't get over. And besides that, I mean, I think the other teams are good mechanically, but maybe their preparation for the games aren't as good as well. I don't know. I mean, what do you think it is?
Well, I feel like you guys always have better environment. When I remember on TSM, whenever we go to Worlds, it's like do or die, do or die, do or die. And you guys always like were memeing and just like chilling. Where I felt like we were always under so much stress. Like, I'd imagine you guys are under stress too, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's stress within the practice and stuff, but it's not like making us resent each other or anything. And I don't know if it's the same for other teams, but when we're talking about it, it's like sometimes it can get like, a little heated or emotional, but we always try to pull it back and recognize that we are just trying to improve. Like, we're just trying to figure out the best way to play together. And it's not like we hate each other, we want to hate each other, and there's no grudges. It's just like we try to figure out the best way to play.
Final question. Does it ever bother you where like everyone thinks of NA80 carries and they're like double lift, oh double lift. And then after double lift, they say people like Zben and then now Bang instead of Sneaky. And you consistently made it out of groups at Worlds and always performed. So yeah, it was always, I guess, kind of weird to me that your name wasn't up there. Is that something that bothers you and something that you might want to change?
It's not necessarily a bother to me. I guess, like, thinking of lists, the one weird one has always been, like the last few Worlds, they put double lift in like the top 20.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I guess you didn't do anything again. But like for NA lists, I usually think I get a decent amount of credit. They end up usually putting me pretty high. I feel like Freak recently put me, like last year recently, put me on like number 1 on the list. So generally I feel like I do get a lot of credit, and it would be weird if I was getting put like 5th, 6th, like, oh yeah, Bang, Sven, they're all better. It's like, okay, I mean, I'll just keep playing and show you why they're not. So yeah, it generally doesn't get to me because I don't really care. I'm just trying to play the best I can with my team and make us win.
Yeah, I mean, you're so quintessentially Cloud9. Like, you don't care. You guys do all. I'll never be able to figure it out. And you guys always just meme. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Do you have any final words?
Thanks for having me.
Okay. If you enjoyed the coverage, please check out more and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much to Low Key Community for making this interview happen. If you guys want to support them, the link is going to be down in the bio.